making use of their teacher librarian in their own classroom before things happen, the research project happens. So there's a link here. I'm not going to take you to it, but Inspiration's an outstanding collection of graphic organisers and planners online tools. Personally, I'm not averse to the old pen and paper, big piece of paper and text out. That you can work things out that way too. But if you want to build this kind of, if you want a planner to be one of the things that the students hand into you at the end, this is a great tool to get them onto. The next thing that we guide you to, and this is related to this planning and organisation stuff, is the section of the library website that's all about learning tools, and this is where you'll find some of the posters that Murray was referring to. You find references to presentation tools, to Inspiration once again. These posters are great. I really like the way they give, can you see it? I really like the way that they give students terms that they might use when they're arguing and persuading. They give them linking words. They help to build students' vocabulary for this kind of task, because this is a task that asks them to think about who they are in relation to antibiotics and the use of antibiotics. So there's a kind of deeper and more personal learning that has to go on here. You have to decide who you are in relation to this topic. It's not just a report about someone else's science. It's also a discussion about you and what you think and feel about this. So I think these posters are really, really good places to go and look for, the terms that students might use. This is also another place where teachers can step in. I've taught small units over a year to classes about how you deal with conflicting information. Once you've found your information and it doesn't all agree with each other, what on earth do you do with it? Most kids ignore the stuff that doesn't suit their argument, but in fact they have to incorporate that as they move through the school. That's one of the tasks that we expect them to understand and to have a handle on. So that's another point. So when they come to thinking about developing, further on, once they start thinking about developing their argument, you can insert a teacher librarian again to perhaps teach or take students through the task of doing that, depending on what's required. So we work with whole classes, and we work with individual small groups. You can identify a group of students who need to be worked with, or you can just ask us to be there as another set of eyes and ears and troubleshoot. And through doing that, we support the students in their information literacy and help them build better outcomes. Usually what we do then is, with Pathfinders, is we, the form is, so you're planning and then locating your information. And we always start with a search on the Infinity catalogue, because that searches what we've got here in the library. So it searches our resources, our books, our print material, ClickView. It also searches our databases, some databases. And that's all material that's important to start with because it's local, it's accessible, and it's being curated for these students in this school and for this subject. So we don't send them off into Google Land to start with. That comes later, if it's necessary at all. So at this point, your students might need some help using Infinity. They may or may not be very familiar with it. It now has a federated searching feature. Oh, good. We'll go back and repair that link sometime. No, it's all right. People know how to find it. They can put it on their own things. The other places we would then take them to, just back there. When we talk to them about using Infinity, we get them to think again about the terms they're going to use, the keywords they might search for. And those terms that they use also apply to their database searches and internet searches and all the other kinds of searches. There might be some that are more specific. If you've got a student who's very clear about what they want to do, and you want to look at pig farms or something, you might include pig farms. That's one of the terms. Then we look at the databases, and we take them to the newspapers and to terrific databases like EBSCO. The newspapers, these are supposed to all be linked. You should be able to click on those and take you to them. The opportunity to step in here as teacher librarians and support you in what you're doing and help your students develop their information literacy is to help them use this. Have any of you used Echo? It's an indexing service. It's a fabulous indexing service. It's a bit clunky and old-fashioned looking. It's not a very modern look, but it's an outstanding index that searches all Australian newspapers. The main newspapers for all states.
And now they've included their internet links as well.
And it's quite a powerful tool and offers lots of support to students. We used it when we were dealing with Year 12s and their orals. So they're actually much easier to search than the newspapers themselves. Yes.
So can you just go back, how do I get to that section there, sorry?
My contents plus the resource centre, and that's our landing page.
Oh, okay, so
And one of these sections is newspapers.
newspapers,
Yes.
cool.
So you can find the newspaper section independently of the Pathfinder.
Yep.
You don't have to come by the Pathfinder. Points of view is something that English teachers will also know. This comes under the EBSCO banner. It's one of their products, and it's a great one for helping students again understand how we present arguments and how we argue for and against things. It looks at modern current affairs issues, or this sort of perennial stuff that comes up, the death penalty and things like that. Immunisation is a fairly current topic. It's been in the news again just lately. So that presents you with the topic, and then it presents you with a model answer for and a model answer against. So that's a really good tool for building this kind of project, this kind of response that they have to give, where they give their point of view and must argue it very clearly. EBSCO Host. Personally, I find EBSCO Host fairly complex. I don't know that I'll be doing a lot of it with Year 9, but it is a very powerful tool. Again, it searches all Australian and New Zealand newspapers, most mainstream periodicals. Terrific stuff. Worldbook is a good one to use with students who just need some basic facts, some core information from a really reliable source. It's kind of a go-to for all sorts of situations. So it's not for the really in-depth kind of stuff, it's just for a real precise, key, spot-on sort of overview. We also found with this particular topic there was information, issues in society. Issues in society comes out quarterly, I think. And again, it's, as I said there, it's a thoroughly researched compilation of recent news, facts, opinions and statistics for a very big range of primary and secondary sources. And there is an animal rights and welfare issue that is relevant to this particular subject.
And with issues in society, we get 5 or 6 issues per release, and each book is online. It's a PDF, and each PDF is devoted to a single topic. So there's, I think, about 3 or 4 years worth there.
So again, it's an opportunity for us as teacher librarians to come in and work with your class as they access these resources. We can, if you think your whole class needs to be taught a bit about advanced searching, then we can do our song and dance routine to the whole class. We can do it with selected students. We can just move around and troubleshoot as issues arise. So there's a couple of ways that you can make use of it there. Internet searching, at some point they will just go to Google, no matter what you say to them. That's a very interesting process. It's worth looking into, well, maybe it's not There are reasons why you get the kinds of search results you get from Google. And there are reasons why you get different kinds of search results from DuckDuckGo. You know, their algorithms work differently. They operate on the basis of searches you've done before. They're also limited in here slightly by the filters and things that we have. So we've expanded sort of phrases and terms that might help them get to what they need. What usually they need to have a discussion with us about at this point is who wrote this stuff and how reliable is it? And have I really found something that's worthwhile and is going to make my work authoritative and strong? So that's where we often work with kids as they're Googling away now, they're thinking they've got fantastic stuff, and we come up to them and we challenge that idea a little bit. So again, you can ask us in to have a whole conversation with kids about the whole class about this, or we can just come and troubleshoot, prompt kids to think about things before they move on. Because as we know, it's a world of information and disinformation and just fake stuff. There are also we've also tried to guide them to these particular websites because we think that they're most likely to produce results for them. Our World in Data is a terrific one. So Wolfram Alpha is really unusual. Has anyone used it? I can't quite get my head around it, but it goes looking for statistics. So you can type in any word you like, and it will go searching for data about that and it will present it to you as statistics.
Well, there is one, we put it to use with Alan Rice in a project that we did about 2 years ago in science, and it was the animal classification, so all you had to do was type in the name of the animal, and it just came up with a complete classification of that animal.
The World Health Organisation and the Food and Agriculture Organisation might also be places students want to go. So we've sorted this out. We've already gone to these sites and decided that these might be useful for these kids with this assignment. So that's what we call curation. So we try to get them to not just Google madly, but to Google in a more thoughtful and considered kind of way. And again, they're not necessarily designed for school student use, so you may benefit from one of us being around to troubleshoot there again. There are some websites specifically to do with animal welfare, and because the content of some of these is very graphic, I just wanted to make clear that 2 sites are animal farming sites and 2 are produced by farming organisations, so they understand that bias sometimes exists in these. I think it's pretty obvious in these sites. But Peter and Animals Australia obviously are very anti-everything to do with animal welfare. There's a reminder there at the end that they need to be making a note about all of the images and photos that they use. It's so easy to grab, click and drag. But they need to be taking details of their pictures, and they need to go into site data. And then finally, we remind them that they need to produce bibliography. And that shows their teacher, well, it's a bit of a trail in its own right of what they've researched and how they've researched it. And it's about being a researcher of integrity. So I have done a number of classes here and in other schools about that, and we picture according to which level we're talking to. So it can get very sophisticated and legalistic, or it can be a much more straightforward thing where we're simply showing our learning, making our learning evident, whatever the phrase is used here. And then they can come and see us. So what we need from you, whenever you come in and want to work with us on developing a project, working on rubrics, and then creating a pathfinder that helps step your students through this process, is we really need to know the context. We need to know where you've been, we need to know what you've noticed about your class and their skills, whether or not you think there are particular students you want us to work with, or if you want to, sometimes people just want to focus on the note-taking part of things. So when they're finding their information and making their notes, that's the time when we would come in and do a class on note-taking. So we want to know this. What else do we need to know? We want a copy of the task. We want to know where you think they're at. We want to know if you've got any gaps or issues, and that's, I think, about it. So there are whole lots of ways that you can insert us, or lots of opportunities where you can make use of us to build your students' information literacy. There you go.
And very last bit that we want to get onto, and we won't keep you very long, is this one that people said it's too confusing, and there's a reason why it's structured the way it is, and Jim's about to explain that. As we said, we got Trent to help us, because we struggle with it as well.
I was trying just to go from the bottom of the page where Diane was at, going back up. We're actually just looking at the assessment rubric. Now, with the book that Mara showed you initially, we had the Victorian curriculum. Now, on some pages, they're actually highlighted in red. We have, say, question predicting. Different, if I can, I'll increase the font, if I can, Control Plus. Probably the wrong one to show you, but if you can see that a little bit better. I know that's actually pixelating, so that's not really working well. But we do have a variety of areas where they're coming across, such as recording, processing, analysing, evaluating, and communicating, for example. Communicating. So you can actually sort of see, there's a link to the Victorian curriculum. So you're actually reporting to the curriculum standards. All right, so we have that there. Now, with this, it was challenging doing the rubric. We ourselves found it challenging, if I can say that. Would you agree? And it is a change in the mind. So, even doing the grading, Dominic was speaking earlier about the grading. We'll talk about that in a minute. If I may, the logic that was used, this is by Trent, and we're actually going through the highest to lowest. So, when the students, you might almost have to look at this on the up here on the projector and look at your rubric, and you may be getting it. But we're ultimately, and I'll go to what Cameron said, with Phineas Gage, they actually created a new set of neurology with what Phineas Gage. It's never happened before. So they actually created a new mindset. So on the way up, we're actually getting higher levels of thinking. And so we're actually assessing higher levels of thinking. So if we go back, and if I can, I'll just go back to, if I can, not the curriculum, the rubric. And it's not going to show up here. But for example, and I'm just going to look at, even I can't read that with my, with that pixelation, it's that bad. So I'm looking up here, the bibliography. The basic level of the bibliography is just understanding. Understanding they have to do it and make sure it's classified and sorted. They really can't get to, if I can use the old speak, a 5. So by actually presenting a talk like today, and we have, say, if I can, I'll look at this one here, looking at audience engagement. We're looking at, say, not shown, or I'm thinking, no, maybe I've got the wrong one. If I can, I'm looking at here, audience, the voice, tone and pitch, apologies. The voice was monotone. So you get the kids up there, hello, my name is Jim. I am talking about the ethics. Well, you need some audience engagement. But what we do need is we actually need them to be able to create something. And what we're actually testing, this is quite great, we're actually testing the ethical capabilities of do we actually give people in, say, war-torn South Africa antibodies to keep them alive, where they could starve, where there could be a war, etc. And these guys have to be able to come up and create a presentation, whether to the mock UN or whether to the World Health Organization, but they have to create an ethical point of view. And that is why it is at the top level. So in these different areas here, and as I said, it was challenging. Like, we're used to having every cube filled. There are areas here that aren't filled. There's areas above that aren't filled. And we have sort of, if they're the kid, they're not shown, so someone doesn't do the presentation. It's challenging, but when we go back, and again, we probably just have to look at Bloom's taxonomy And again, we used Trent, and we had to wrap our heads around it on our front. It was quite challenging. And when you think about, as I said, the top level, every box gets filled. We're actually testing now for skills. That's what we're testing for, a skills base. I think that was the term that's been Mr. Murphy's talk about. So we're skills based, we're looking at skills. But I do think, 2 seconds, I'll get to that one, we're skills based, but I do think there's also a bit of a grade. And Jamaica actually asked about a grade. What's your question, Connie?
Well, how do we use it to mark their work?
Okay, good. We actually have gone down that track and I've actually got an online rubric. Is there any questions? I mean, have I explained the rubric well enough? Is that, this one here, that rubric, has that been seen? Like, ultimately, there's different levels, we'll go through there. We've got different levels where they're understood, where they say, they've done that. They've actually been able to engage the audience, like hopefully I have. But I haven't created anything. And haven't done anything new like neurology. We haven't created a new field, or I haven't created an ethical point of view that, oh, hey, that's a good logical one. So there's different levels. Okay, so to market. Now, this is where I need to go back, and we actually have it on, if I can. I'll just go back into Marston College. On the bottom of the thing, I've actually increased it too big now, so I've got to go smaller. If I can, my contents. Now, we actually pondered this one too, Connie, and I actually looked at, and if you can, the top level, I made it a set 5. I could have said 10. The bottom one, I said 4. The second one was 4. The third one was 3. And again, that's how you as a group may have to come through and say, okay, how do we grade it? And I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Now, the ethics, I've actually got a drop-down box, so it's actually an assignment where the kids could drop it down. We'll actually go into grading. Now, I had a great amount of fun doing this. It took probably 10 to 12 hours to upload it, and I won't actually say it was fun. I didn't do it properly. So, sorry, while your rubric looks that way, I'm going to do it this way, it's actually going across here. So, while we're actually doing the visual bit, a bit like what you were saying here, the emphasis is on the ethical capability and the science understanding, Moodle gets us to go this way. Now, each one has got that. So in other words, I put in a point here. I put in a 0 point. I don't know what you want to use, whether you want a 2, whatever. So the maximum grade a student can get, and I was speaking to Dominica earlier, on the top of this, maximum is 25. So the maximum gets 25. It actually goes down, we go through the maths later, but the maximum a student can actually get is 41. It's out of 41. Now, I was guessing, and I'll say I was guessing, I think we were guessing. They actually said as with Moodle, they said, what is the minimum pass grade? Now, I just made a guess, and I said, 18. Speaking to Dominica a minute ago, if we look at all the 2s, the level here, understanding, if every student could get to understanding, that bit there, that's about 18 marks. There's about 18 marks across there. If they can get to that bit, probably, that's about 18 marks. So they can get to this, and there they get to 18 marks. So, and they probably haven't shown any ethical understanding. So again, that's an area that we need to sit down and work out, but I was just making it up. But the top grade one you get is 41. So are there any questions? When we had to actually, this is where it made it confusing, I had to leave this blank. The minute I take this out, you don't need to know this, it will just shoot across there. The table just moved all across the show. The computer wanted to think for its own. Ed had a bit of a chat to me and it was hard work.
So are we giving this to the kids, are we?
I'd argue yes, and we'd sit down and help you with it.
It's a mock, it's an example of what we can produce.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, it's a complex assignment, and that's a complex rubric. Yeah.
I think that's the way we're going with the online, with the reporting.
I don't think that in one assignment you would have to assess every single scientific inquiry skill. Like you would have it broken down to what that assignment might assess. Like over the year, yes, you'd have to assess those inquiry skills, but because it's the whole year, well, it's year 9 and 10 really. Yeah. So you might just assess like questioning and predicting, analysing and evaluating, or there might be little sections that look at that. So you wouldn't have to have a rubric that big.
We probably looked at it, everyone that could fit into that ethical capabilities.
So are we going to be given any time to be shown how to do this? We had 10 minutes at one thing a
Well, we can
while
help you
ago.
with it too, that's just it, the whole package, we can help you with it.
And the
Going
group,
through-
the group of people who are doing assessment, so after these sessions, people will feed back in.
But when you say the group of people that are doing assessment, who do you mean? Like
So
right
there's
now,
people
right
from
now?
that Are doing assessment.
Okay, so how come I'm on this rubric committee or whatever, and yet I'm not in the assessment
I don't,
group?
I don't know. But
And
what
we've
I'm
only
saying
met
is-
once with
Yeah.
him.
Look, the purpose, I think, the great thing of rubrics like this is it makes the students understand where they need to take their work to. So whilst,
We don't understand.
no, well, but I think the more you unpack it, and that's where leading into the new assessment reporting with skills, if a student's at one level, that becomes your future learning is whatever the statement is next up there. But students actually, and even when I did as part of my master's assessment and rubric writing, we spent a whole session just unpacking the rubric as students in that class. And the benefit of that is it actually makes the formation of the activity. So it does change the way you teach because you're putting a lot of the onus back on the students to say, all right, we've gone through now and explained a task sheet and we've explained a rubric, and now you're going to use that to guide your teaching. It's not so much about the mark, it's what do I need to do to hit each of the individual requirements. And as John said, you may not put all of this in one assignment. So your assignment might focus on a certain number of these elements, but students are actually pretty good, and they're coming out of primary schools where this is
What
now.
about the parents though? I mean, we'd have to, obviously, they need to be educated in all of this as well.
Yeah, and that's where the task sheets are so good because it makes it very transparent what you're actually teaching.
Can we clarify, if you're doing an assignment and you're looking only at ethical capability science, you give the students just that bit, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Along with the rest of the assignment, whatever it involves. But as far as assessment, you say to the students, this is what I'm going to assess, is that what you're saying?
Well, the reason why we included all the other things is because they were communicating.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Yes,
if, let's say you've got 3
exactly.
assignments,
Yes.
this is what the students focus on for that assignment, is that the idea? I mean, the students are going to look at,
And said it, you only assess what you want to cover.
yeah,
So you don't have to go fully with this, but we gave the different levels to explain the way the
blow
rubric
the
looks.
lines.
What do you want to assess?
Blowing mine off.
But if you had a project-based learning that was going on,
You said right.
so
You said
like
right.
the extended
I'm not trying to stop you.
investigation,
What are you
time
doing?
to look at something that's because there's a number of elements, but you break it down to each task is looking at these.
So let's say year 7 level, you would be, I thought the whole idea is that they look at all of these and they would only get to that level. You're only going to aspire and go higher up. But he was saying the whole thing is out of 40, is out of all up.
Yeah, and a rubric you shouldn't add up. It shouldn't be about marks. The days of it being about a mark.
We have to see, but we have to give them a mark in the end, right? So how do we arrive at that mark?
But not every task you do, you have to give a mark.
But the stuff
But
that's
that's
on the
it, you've got
report,
to
for
change that
example, we
thinking.
do the,
Yeah, but
we give
we've
a
got,
percentage.
no, we've made that a decision as staff that we have to do it. But the Victorian curriculum now explicitly says it's the skills, you have to report against the
How much
skills.
we,
You
how
don't
much
have to report against 8. It's not saying to you, you've got to have 5 tasks.